How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the Enclave, South Africa's premier firearms education channel. So, I'm actually going to be releasing this video at the same time as a much longer video. So, I'm hoping this is going to be about 10 minutes at most, whereas the other one is a good 30 minutes. That one is like a full-on rant of me going on about the current system or current way things are, I guess, in South Africa. Um, But for those who aren't going to sit through that 30-minute video, I figured I would do a quick summary. So I do not specifically believe that the ex-president's arrest has much to do with this. I feel like everything we're currently experiencing in this country is part of a bigger ploy to not only create a racial divide, but at the same time sort of use that racial divide to cement the ANC as the long-term government of South Africa, for the foreseeable future. So, what makes me say that? Like, overall, there's a bunch of evidence that all this is linked. All of the riots, they tried to do it 2 years ago with the xenophobic attacks. Um, like that also turned into mass looting, mass rioting, businesses being shut down, businesses leaving the country, people leaving the country. And I think it's exactly what they want. I think what they want is for people who do not have, I guess, stock in the ANC to leave the country so that they have more chance of continuously being elected. So there's a few ways they're doing that. The one that affects us on this channel most is with firearms. They're constantly trying to pass laws to stop us from feeling safe, to stop us from being protected in our own homes, in our own country, on the way to work, at work, etc. Um, and like you could sort of see that we get bills passed to limit the time it can take them to 3 months. That disappeared. Like that all went away. That law is still in place. That court order is still in place, but they don't abide by it. And like that then goes into further things. Like they want to constantly cause a racial divide. It's like now they're zooming in on the Indian versus Zulu conflicts that are happening in Durban because Indian people are choosing to defend their property by law, legally, and now they're turning it into this whole thing that the Indians are hunting the Zulus and they're after them like they're going out for them, like they're not just defending themselves. They're going out now to basically inflict harm. And I don't believe that's true. Purely based on what I've seen, purely based on what I've been told from people there in Durban on the ground, that's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is the government basically trying to stop people from defending their property while their supporters come in and get a free ride and get a free 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to loot because the looting is still going on till this day, like I said in my previous 30-minute video. Um, and that's my thing, is that if you look at all the things like the 1.5 million rounds of ammunition that were stolen by the South African Police Department, more evidence on that in my long video, things like that make all this look like a bigger event. I don't want to call it a conspiracy because conspiracies are generally untrue. They're generally far-fetched. But there is visible, plain to see evidence of this happening in South Africa. You take Enka, for example, broadcasting only the news that perpetuates racial divisions and racial anger and tension, but they never broadcasting the people who are helping. Didn't see one thing on Anchor about the people going out to support each other, the people out to protect each other, but they covered every act of racial divide, every act of racial violence, every like it. It is all encompassing. The media, like adverts on TV, cast, like, I mean, you look at that clicks debacle, like, it came out that the person who released that ad was of color. And yet, that didn't stop people from burning Clixes to the ground, destroying Clixes, looting Clixes. And then people say that's the EFF. The EFF and the ANC are the same group, people. You must wake up. They are the same group. The EFF was created as opposition to the ANC, but in actual fact, no matter which one of the two are in power, the same people are in power. The same ideologies are at play. The same, rules of governing will be at play. Um, and for me, you look at all those things, and it's all to create a racial tension. It's all to get, to be quite frank, non-Zulus to leave the country. And it's working. There are articles every day basically taking toll of all of the people who've left. There are many, many high power people who are leaving the country of all races. People who do not support the ANC are getting the hell out of here because A, they can probably see where it's going. B, there's no benefit to being in this country anymore. Like, we used to have a lot of great things that made it a really amazing place to invest. Now, the risk doesn't outweigh the reward. Like, you have massive companies talking about pulling out of South Africa thanks to our government basically allowing its followers to have a 2 or 3 week purge every year. It's almost every single year now for the last 4 or 5 years that there's been large scale looting, not to the degree that we've seen now in Durban, but still large scale looting where dozens, if not hundreds of businesses are looted almost on a yearly basis. Never with police intervention, never with military intervention. In fact, like I said in my 30-minute video, there was a note sent out by the courier guy in Durban to say that they had hired additional armed security to protect them during these riots, to protect their warehouses. And the police and the army rocked up on their premises and threatened them with violence if any of the looters were harmed. Basically, the police and the SANDF assisted in the looting of the courier guy warehouses in Durban. Like, they were there to basically stop the armed defenders from defending their property all over Durban. The police and the military were not there to shoot rioters, which they should have, in my opinion. All those rioters should be shot dead. Every single one of them. That is my opinion. Um, but yeah, like, to be quite frank, it is becoming very clear to me that the rolling blackouts, but only to selected areas. None of the government officials' homes ever get cut. None of the government buildings ever get cut. But, the civilians are the ones who have to pay for that. And even when we don't have announced load shedding, we're still having blackouts far more regularly than any country that I know of. So, yeah, there's a lot of things put together that I believe are there to either demoralize, demotivate, break down, or simply push out a vast majority of anti-ANC supporters in this country. I believe the ANC is trying to make it as difficult for us to live here as physically possible, so that only the people who truly suckle from the teat of the ANC would stay. Because unless you're directly benefiting from the ANC, there is no incentive for you to stay here. And I think that is exactly what they want. They want to push out the 40% of the country that didn't vote for them in the last election and subsequently might be 60% in the next election, which they are also trying to prevent from happening. They are trying to delay the local elections that are supposed to be happening in November. I believe they're going to succeed to remain in power for longer. And in that time, I believe they're going to attempt to create a civil or national, like, racial war. Um, because as we should know, most countries at war don't change leadership that often. So we'll end up like a place like Zimbabwe, where leadership's in power for 50 years and there's nothing a damn, well, there's not a damn thing anyone can do about it. But yeah, anyways, that's my overall opinion. The ANC government is trying to get people who watch these videos, because I'm sure there aren't very many ANC supporters watching my videos, and yeah, all the others who aren't going to vote for them, they want us gone. They either want us dead or they want us to leave. And, they're going to get their way because I'll be quite frank, I want to leave. That's my thing. Even for someone like me who loves South Africa, who everything I do is in South Africa, everything I know is in South Africa, I can imagine my life being better elsewhere just because of where I am. Um, and yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, living in the States, I can at least get a job at Walmart. I can't get a job at Checkers. I cannot get a job at Woolworths. I cannot get a job at Pick and Pay or Spar because, you know, like it's a fact. I've tried. Like the jobs in those industries, you need massive experience and you need to be managerial levels, like regional managers, national managers. Those are the only people that look like me that can get jobs in those industries. And those are the bottom range jobs. Places like McDonald's. That's where you work in the States and Canada when you can't work anywhere else. You get a job at Burger King or you get a job at wherever else. Those opportunities are not available for me in this country. So it's either a high end job with 5 years plus experience to enter, or a tertiary degree that takes you 5 to 7 years to earn. It's very difficult. And then, even then, there's no guarantee once you've got that tertiary education. So, anyways, I don't want to ramble on and make this video too much longer than it probably already is. But to me, that is what they want. They want us out of the country. And yeah, I'm trying to not make it about a racial thing because, to be honest, I don't think it is a racial thing. I think this is going to affect Indians, Muslims, Venda, Portuguese. If you are not Zulu, you are going to be pushed out of this country. Like that appears to be the sort of bar you have to cross. And unfortunately, I'm never gonna cross that bar. Like, but yeah, so that's my opinion on all of this. I think it's all part of a bigger story. It's all part of a bigger problem. Um, and I think, to be honest, one of two things is going to happen. There is going to be a mass exodus. So South Africa will be considered a place where you can claim refugee status. So we will have a mass exodus of people like myself and my wife and her family claiming refugee status in somewhere like Canada or the UK or the US or whatever the case may be. Australia, those sort of places. But either that or there's going to be a genocide. There's going to be a civil war that is going to rage on for decades. I apologize for that. But yeah, that is my opinion. I feel like either it's going to get to the point where everyone is going to have an opportunity to leave, or if you stay, you're going to have to fight for your life. That is what I believe. But yeah, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you want more detail, you want to hear me go into a few of these topics a little bit deeper, check out the 30-minute video. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to upload them both at the same time so that people can have a choice. But yeah, as always, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, maybe check out another video. If you got more time, like, comment, share, subscribe, all those good things. And then as always, peace out.